The world's most lovable bear is back, and he's going international. Let's talk about Paddington in Peru. If you haven't seen any of the Paddington movies yet, I don't know what to tell you. You are missing out on one of cinema's greatest movies and greatest characters of all time. You've probably seen the memes, you've probably seen the jokes, but the hype is real. Paddington 1 and 2 are one of the greatest movies ever made. They are phenomenally funny, charming, cute, adventurous, and very whimsical, and it kind of takes you back to your childhood of simple movies that are told with a lot of heart. So with this much hype, you already know that I was excited for a third Paddington movie, and Paddington in Peru delivers for the most part, and I adore this movie. Let me get a couple of my criticisms out of the way first. Not having Sally Hawkins in this movie was a little bit of a detriment, but Emily Mortimer still brought the same charm and whimsy that Sally Hawkins' character did in the first couple movies. The other is more of the story. I do think there is a lot going on, and it's a bit of a messy story. There's a lot going on with it, and then towards the end, it's just a little confusing and contrived, but I feel like the payoff is worth it. Now it's time for some of the good parts. The animation, the visual effects is top tier for a bear movie about him trying to find himself and going back to his origins. And honestly, it's better than some of the visual effects that we see in modern Marvel films. Paddington himself feels like a living, breathing character. He feels like he's there on screen with the rest of the cast. It doesn't feel too off-putting. And then the jungle sequences and the boat riding sequences that are done on green screen with a lot of visual effects are done really well and seamlessly in this film. The new additions to the cast, with Olivia Colman and Antonio Banderas, are great. They bring a lot of their charm and humor to it, and it really adds to this really wacky, zany world of Paddington. The rest of the family does a wonderful job in this film, as they always do. They feel like a real unit. And I like how they explore how they're getting older and things aren't the same as it used to be. However, at the end of the day, they do have a collective love for each other, and they kind of see each other's perspective by the end of the film. Overall, I don't think Paddington in Peru is as good as the first two Paddington movies. I do feel like there was a little bit more whimsy and world building and humor and charm, especially with their more cohesive plots. But that's not to say that Paddington in Peru is definitely not lacking in its charm and whimsy and the level of heart that the other Paddington movies bring. Especially by the end of the film, I did have like my heartstrings tugged out a bit. I did get teary-eyed, and I overall enjoyed this experience. I hope they keep making more Paddington movies. I really do wish that there was less of a time lapse between the three movies so far, but at the same time, I'm grateful that there is a third movie that kind of completes itself as a trilogy and gives us one of cinema's best trilogies. I don't know if it's quite in the top 5 that I was expecting it to be in, but it's definitely cinema's top 10 trilogies of all time, I believe. I might have to do a list on that, but Paddington in Peru, again, is whimsical, it's charming, it's filled with a lot of heart, it's funny, and there are things that you will adore about it, especially the new additions of Antonio Banderas and Olivia Colman. Again, the plotting is a little weird and wonky, but the payoff is worth it. I hope you guys go check it out and support Paddington.